SCPs. I have made at this point 2 videos going over SCPs. For anybody who doesn't know what they are, I'm going to give you the little quick storytelling. Basically, it's the CIA. If the CIA, their whole thing was abducting Bigfoot, the devil, and a toaster that can manifest toast. The point I'm trying to make here is that the SCP Foundation, in reality, is a collective writing group that is, I believe, the largest in the world, where people will go in, create a monster, give it all types of lore, write up some manuscripts. It's actually pretty cool. And these monsters can range from, yes, a toaster that can manifest toast to a Cthulhu-level god. So, yeah, naturally, we're going to get a lot of hits, we're going to get a lot of misses, but overall, it's good content, and that's what I'm covering in this video. But to be more specific, we're going to be covering SCP-001, or the Ones, okay? It's actually pretty complicated. In the lore of SCP, nobody actually knows what SCP-001 is outside of a small group of people that we'll cover in this video. And I do believe this will serve as a pretty good introduction to the lore of it, so if you haven't seen my past 2 videos, this is probably good for you. And if you have seen the past 2 videos, you know what you're in for, boys. You know what we're going to be getting into. And we're going to be covering every single SCP-001 that may or may not be real in the lore of SCP. It's pretty complicated, but we'll cover it. Okay? Every single proposal, decoy, everything, disguising what the true monster is for SCP-001, okay? I don't want to have a long-winded intro here. We're here for entertainment, but if you don't mind, please consider a like, comment, subscribe. 65% of you are not subscribed to the channel, and it would mean a lot to me if you guys did subscribe. And with all that out of the way, let's get into the video of all the SCP-001 proposals. The Scarlet King. Okay, we're going in with a heavy hitter. If you guys have been around for the channel for a minute, I've actually already covered this one, although slightly. I've gotten better at my job, and we're going to be covering it in this one. Okay? The Scarlet King is the major antagonist in the SCP Foundation series. He's an ancient and evil god worshipped by the groups such as the Children of the Scarlet King. Cult members, think of them as basically like the Anthill kids from like real life, but like way more organized. Okay, I'm not even trying to like make jokes about it, but at the same time it's actually kind of comical, the Children of the Scarlet King in this series, as a ruthless, powerful monarch often tied to the destruction of the current world as we know it. He serves as an overarching antagonist behind the articles SCP-231 and possibly SCP-2317, which we could cover in another video. But essentially what you gotta understand is bro is basically the devil combined with Cthulhu, and he manifests into reality through us talking about him. It's very much a cognito hazard, and you're gonna understand my feelings on this, how I feel about cognito hazards. I think the Scarlet King is... I don't want to spoil it. The main antagonist of the verse of an endless song series is one of the many anomalies proposed in the title of SCP-001, an entry originally written for the 2018 Doomsday Contest. That's the real-life lore behind him. Let's get into the appearance. In the tale, The Three Short Scenes About Death, the Scarlet King is given a little description. His fists are described as massive and gnarled, holding the chains of his consorts and his concubines, the same fist that would effortlessly smash a man's throat. The king's voice is described as similar to chittering of a billion infinitesimal insects. I dig that. Like, I like those, like, overwhelming descriptions of an entity, where we're like, he sits on a throne of lies, and he speaks like the voice of 1,000 hornets. Like, it's a really artsy way of saying, he's an asshole. Like, that's, like, both of those hit, but one of those hits infinitely better. That's all I'm trying to say. And swirling and constantly moving. His voice also was neither high nor low, nor a my reading skill is getting absolutely fraud-checked right now. Cacophonous nor methodical. I got that. Simply just being. When the Scarlet King first appeared to the Serpent, he took form of a girl in a red clothes sitting on a rocking throne. On other occasions, the Scarlet King was depicted as a gigantic, monstrous red whale that swam through the water abyss, devoured everything in its path, and dominated the food chain. According to Tufto's SCP-001 proposal, the king is more akin to a living idea than an individual entity. Now there we're getting into something that I kind of like. I like the idea that it's more of like the manifestation of like mankind's like either like desire for chaos or the chaos, the like evil of humanity. I kind of like that. That's been done in like a bunch of other, like that's been done in like Warhammer. That's how they get like the chaos gods. That's been done a lot. I think like even Berserk did something with that. But like that's where they're getting me with this. But now we're gonna get into like the cognito hazard portion of it that I'm kind of like, you'll see in a second. The people's dissatisfaction with the modern way of life and can assimilate an entity thought to be him into an aspect of himself. Just as it did with SCP-001's, he is always depicted as a figure with a crown-like ornament over his head, showing royalty and associated with the color red. Or in the cases of alien cultures lacking the perception of color, red the king would be associated with the color that would be synonymous or close with the color. Like, even the aliens are like, bro, this guy's a problem. Okay, real talk, though. It's kind of funny how, like, any alien movie never wants to, like, touch on, like, the concept of, like, religion to aliens, because it is just a weird concept to bring up. Like, if I had to be honest with you, if I had to pick the religion of an alien group, I think it would be much closer to, like, Buddhism. Like, imagine, brother, you get abducted, and they bring you into the SIP, and they're like, "Ayo! It's Sunday, dog." It's like, what? Like, they're speaking in, like, some alien language that you just understand because it's telepathy. And they're like, wait a minute. You guys have Jesus up here? What do you mean? I understand why it doesn't make sense, but, like, I hope you guys understand that it would be infinitely funnier if they did than if they didn't. Like, if they didn't have that, it would be like, oh, yeah, of course they wouldn't know. But imagine every Sunday it's just like, nah, bro. Sunday's for the Lord. Like that, I'm sorry. Like, that's infinitely funnier. But we got way off topic. Okay, basically the aliens know of him. He is the op of all of existence. Described looking at the king like staring at a pattern screamer, only hollow. Okay. When a group of Foundation agents confronted the physical form of the Scarlet King in his supposed throne room, he appeared as a young malnourished boy with hanging messy hair, crimson red eyes, wearing only a tunic and beaten sandals, and covered in blood. Having taken the form of the first child who was sacrificed in his name, drawn to the chaos caused during the Manhattan Crisis, the Scarlet King manifested himself as a false garden attempting to imitate nature. Also battling SCP-001's, at which point he transformed into a headless humanoid with no lower body that was solely comprised of bones, fangs, organs, and blood vessels, while surrounded by 7 rays of light that could form a gigantic hands and emitting laughing and screams resembling those of a baby. Okay, now we're getting into something that I do kind of dig. I like the idea that, like, some, like, outer god entity is more manifesting as, like, basically, like, the vibes of terror. Like, have you ever, like, I don't think that. You ever, like, look into, like, Norse mythology descriptions of things? Like, oh, yeah, the hammer of Thor was made of the footsteps of kittens. What does that mean? Like, they kind of just made stuff up. It's like, it has the vibe. It's as silent as the footsteps of kittens, okay? Yep, that makes sense. It's made out of the literal sound of thunder. This, he manifests as the voice of 1,000 babies. Okay. That, I don't know why, but, like, the ambiguousness of that does seem to work in its favor outside of, oh, yeah, he's a dude that has devil horns and he's scary. That works better, at least in my opinion. In Dr. Wondertainment goes out in a bang, a Scarlet King was described as having an anorexic, thin humanoid body, standing exactly 7 feet tall, emitting blinding red light. His skin resembled that of a burnt corpse. His hands were gnarled claws, possessed with 2 great antlers behind his head and multiple eyes on his face. When confronting Cornelius Wondertainment, he wore a military uniform covered in medals and rank markers. Okay. I know, like, we're hitting you with, like, a bunch of stories really quick, but, like, the basic stuff that you need to understand is that, that's probably the closest to his actual form that we ever truly get in there, which you could also argue, man, he's just manifesting as something that's, like, really scary looking, which works. It just works. That's the best way to describe it. And that's the one that, like, when you do see an image of him, when, like, people make fan art of him, that's the easiest one to do, mostly because it's the most distinct looking. If I just gave you an image of, like, a little malnourished 15-year-old boy, you'd be like, yeah, that's cool, but, like, what is that supposed to be? Like, I understand the artist's rendition of that. In SCP-5641, the Scarlet King was described as a 10 trillion times Scanda's size, possessing 7 mouths that spoke profanities, eyes that killed anyone who looked into them, 14 hands in which to use to form old types of mudras. In SCP-6765, the King's body was described as a humanoid with bleeding and gnaw surrounding by grasping arms, eyes while clouded by smoke and fire, and poured endless blood and released an endless, inhumane scream. Ooh, I do kind of like that. That's kind of dope, actually. Okay, now we're getting into, like, the cool aspects of, like, the looks that it could go for. I've already bring this up. Less of an actual concrete look, more of a vibe, okay? Like, think of the vibe of, like, of Dread. That's kind of what bro's going for. Like, he can't settle on a design, so he kind of just settles on, yeah, I have millions of arms, and I scream constantly. It's kind of like eventually I will have to make, like, a Lovecraft, like, video, but, like, Lovecraftian stuff is funny on, like, multiple stuff, mostly because bro was, like, crazy, like, agoraphobic. Like, he just hated being by people. So it gets into, like, everything scared him. So when he was, like, making the entities, it was more like, I cannot describe them, and then proceeds to describe them in very great detail, but they just look like chaos incarnate, which works well for the story, but at the same time, kind of overrated, I'm just gonna say it. Let's get into the personality, that'd be a good way to end it. This is going to be a longer video, boys. The Scarlet King was an old god from the Abyss, shown to be a cruel, manipulative, and nihilistic individual. Though this was more of an image to he held in his insecurity and cowardice, after learning about the true nature of existence, he thought that reality should not exist. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Like, there's something about when you're making, like, a god-level entity, like, in fiction, you can either go, like, they're going the ultimate nihilist route, and then it gets into, like, it's not a new thing. Like, existence is pain, so I don't want existence. It's kind of like, whenever I hear that, that's like the old adage of, like, I don't want children to grow up without parents, so I'm gonna burn down the orphanage. Like, that's what it sounds like to me. Like, we're going a very blanket. Like, this is a very much a hammer-handed solution here. And it could be done bad, but I'm still going. Like I'm very much a critic of, like, the Scarlet King on this. He became hellbent on destroying everything, especially the Tree of Knowledge, by any means necessary, enslaving and devouring numerous gods and doing whatever pleased him. It is believed that SCP-999 were to interact with the Scarlet King, that his heart would change and finally see the beauty of the world in his quest and destruction. Oh yeah, I covered that one in another video. That's the Tickle Monster. So, long story short, yeah, so the devil of the SCP world had a kid from his, like, multiple wives, and one of those kids became the Tickle Monster, which is basically the Blob from Monsters vs. Aliens, but orange, and he brings good vibes. So you see what I understand when I kept on saying it's like he's basically a vibe creature, where this one's like dread and anger. His kid is like happiness incarnate. So, that's my only problem that I have with it. I think the stuff that you could do with this character is really well. I think cognito hazards in fiction are very much a hit or miss, because it's a very easy way to just not elaborate on things. Think about it like this. If I don't know how to write a monster, I'm going to make it a cognito hazard so there is a narrative tool that I don't have to explain it to you. And that's how I kind of think of the Scarlet King. You can do some cool stuff with it. I've seen some good stories written about him with, like, these scientists that research more and more about him, and they go from being like he is a despicable entity to I actually understand what bro is saying. They heard him out. That's essentially what a lot of the stories boil down to. I'm going to dock a point. He's basically just a super nihilist, though. I like his design. The design's pretty dope. I like that he can change his design whenever, and it kind of, like, is a very good, like, he's almost telling a story through how he's manifesting. I'm gonna put it in A. The only thing that I don't like about it is I think cognito hazards are a very slippery slope in terms of, like, narratively. They're either lazy or decent. There's not a lot that are good. And on top of all of that, basically is just a super nihilist. Like, kind of like an emo kid. Like, I don't want anybody to live like this. And then all of a sudden, that becomes the kid that if he ever were to reach down for his backpack a little bit too quick, everybody flinching. Like, that's what I like to think about the Scarlet King. That's why he goes down to A. Could be better, but we're almost there. The O5 Council. You see what I mean? That this is a very good intro. The O5 Council comes in like all different sorts of like stories here, so I'm only gonna be able to cover like a certain amount here. But basically, you know what? I'm just gonna I'll read this so people can first understand. Okay. The O5 Council, also known as the O5 Command, the Overseers, the Overwatch, are the overarching protagonists of the SCP Foundation series. I say I mean, like, narratively, that would be the best way to put it, but they're also just evil, too. Like, that's the best, like, they're also just evil. They're just less evil than literally evil manifest. So, yeah. It is the ruling body of the SCP Foundation, consisting of 13 individuals who are widely regarded, and rightfully so, as among the most powerful, if not the most powerful and influential individuals on the planet, to the point where they could outright alter history itself if they do wish. They keep watch over everything, everyone that has a certain experience in history dealing with the anomalous entities and objects. The Overseers of the Foundation, they have unlimited access to all information about anomalies, Foundation operations. Due to their nature, they can either be heroic or villainous. Although they have very questionable morals to the point of outright malevolence. As stated before, the O5 Council is the ruling body of the Foundation. They are the people who have the ultimate control over the Foundation and all of its operations. They are so secretive and unknown that many people, even ones with high seat in society, dismiss them as much like the Illuminati. Okay. So, this could be done well, and there's a way that you could play it, but like, I mean, you needed like a very secretive group to run a very secretive organization, okay? Very much is meant to be, like, as they said, the Illuminati of this world. And that in and of itself is not bad, but there's certain tropes that it can fall into that I'm just frankly not a fan of. We'll cover that. The members of the O5 Council are unknown, as they could be practically anyone, especially those with high positions of power in the world. Each O5 member knows almost everything there is to know about the Foundation and its activities. Between them all, they know every single secret that the Foundation holds. Most Foundation personnel spend their entire careers without seeing them. Members allow clearance level 2 do not even know they exist. Most people outside the Foundation have never heard of them, and even dismiss them as not real at all. Mostly as a way to keep people in the line out of fear. If they are real, Foundation personnel do not even believe that they are human. And that gets into another cool I do like this portion of it. The fact that, like, people just outright think they're immortal. Like, it's in the best interest of everybody in the Foundation for the lower levels of people, which is like when they're going over like security clearance 2, that's most people. Like, there's D class, which are basically fed to the monsters. There's the people that have a clearance that are kind of like lower level scientists, and then when we get higher and higher, we get into like administrative. And those are the only people that know of the O5's existence. But it's less of, oh yeah, dude, my boss just told me to kill like 13 people on death row. And it's more like, yo, I don't want to join them. That's kind of like the way that it's ran in the SCP Foundation. Think of like super evil like IRS agents. Like, instead of coming for your money, brother, they coming for everything. And they know pretty much everything about your work that you don't even know. The SCP as a total is one of probably like very well compartmentalized, so it does make sense there would have to be like a small group of 13 people that actually know of things in order for this to work as a foundation. That part I like. I kind of like the immortal aspect. Well, this isn't going to go in S. I'm just going to spoil it. The O5s rarely intervene in day-to-day processes of the Foundation or the containment of SCP objects. They tend to keep eye on Keter-class objects and practically micromanage Thamules. That's a thing for the iceberg video. O5 Council members are officially barred from coming into contact with any anomalous entities. That is naturally not strictly true in practice. At a minimum, all O5 members of a sufficient tenure have access to SCP-006, an SCP only they are permitted acknowledge, of which appears as a normal water spring. Only the water from the spring provides numerous health benefits and is named the Fountain of Youth. Although the reduced or even reversing aging is not listed as an effect of ingesting the water, and that aside O5s tend to be able to bend rules, even their own rules. Oh yeah, bro, the bosses don't have to follow it, okay? You get a 15-minute break, I get the drink from the Fountain of Youth. That's essentially this relationship going on. I mean, here's the thing. It makes sense for them to be SCP-001. They are, like, the sole, like, curators of the entirety of the Foundation. Only they know the secrets of it. But then, it's not as cool as the Scarlet King. It simply isn't. Is it the worst thing? No, but it's very much like, oh, yes, SCP-001 is our boss. Like, that's what it reads like, and it's not. Like, is it gonna go? I might move it down to D if I have to put a D tier on here, but I'll put it in C tier. It's not that it's bad, it's just not as good as the other stuff. And if we're making a video ranking them, something has to be last place, and I think just the O5 Council, outside of it being, like, very necessary lore, you can go through the entirety of the SCP Foundation lore and not super interact with the O5 Council. You could still enjoy it. That's the point I'm trying to make here. The Gate Guardian. I've covered the Gate Guardian in the first ever video I did over this, but you know what? We could cover it again. It's probably one of my favorite picks because it hints at a whole lot of stuff that they just don't elaborate on until you get to other stories in the Foundation. The Gate Guardian is an entity residing between the Tigris and Euphrates River in Iraq. He guards the gate to the Garden of Eden, utilizing his flaming sword to annihilate any attempting trespasser. The Gate Guardian also possibly kickstarted the SCP Foundation, telling the founder to prepare. I love that portion of it, okay? I like the idea that the one word, like, the embodiment of, like, an angel on Earth, okay? Okay, and if you want to make, like, a good horror series, okay? I know I say this, but, like, I'm trying to put you all onto some game, okay? And if you're going to go the angels route, biblically accurate angels never miss, dog. They never miss. They're always, like, so weirdly, they're terrifying. Never, like, always remember that. They're terrifying, okay? They say, be not afraid, like, literally every single time they show up. But they're so cool. Like, they're just cool. And this is leaning into the biblical accurate angel, but it's less of like that. But you see what I'm saying. The Gate Guardian is basically the Paul Blart Mall Cop of the Garden of Eden. Okay? But also, the one word he said was prepare to a person on the O5 Council, okay? That's dope. Like, that's dope. Does not elaborate, just says prepare. Not even says it, just puts it into your brain. Like, like, telepathy is always, like, a scary thing. Like, unnecessarily scary. Because the thought that somebody can just manifest a word in your head, and you know it's not yours, like the word prepare, and you just hear his voice in your... Like, that's cool. Like, that would make me start basically the CIA Bigfoot operation, okay? Origins. It's very likely that the Gate Guardian is the biblical Uriel. If this is true, he guards the gateway of the Garden of Eden from the trespassers and likely interacted with Adam, Eve, Lilith, SCP-073, and or SCP-076. That's Cain and Abel. Yep. Yeah, those two. Those two pretty important people. Yeah, that's Cain and Abel. Makes sense. Makes sense that they would have like a sort of relationship, probably a beef, that's all I'm saying. Multiple people over the eons encountered the Gate Guardian, being told to forget, resulting in them losing any memory of the Gate Guardian. Which is, I like that. Prepare. Aaron Siegel, the founder, encountered a Gate Guardian during his expedition. Contrary to earlier encounters with humanity, the Gate Guardian instead told them to prepare. This sparked Siegel creating the SCP Foundation. Ooh, I like that. I really do like that. Like that. I'm not gonna glaze that line again. Simple, sweet. You don't have to get into the sauce of it. There's a lot that you can leave up and make it ambiguous, like the fact that there's literally an angel in between the Euphrates River, which also carries a lot of significance and prophecy, and he's just telling his people to prepare, and then this dude, which also implies a level of foresight by them that they knew that this guy would create it and not just freak out for the rest of his life. Like, I'm sorry, I like him, okay? Dubbing it SCP-001, the SCP Foundation set up Site 0, roughly 10 kilometers, 6.2 miles for the Americans away from SCP-001, where 0514 monitors the 001 and his status in order to activate Emergency Order Patmos in the event he becomes active. I mean, like, when that happens, I don't know what you're gonna do. In 2004, several experiments took place. Experimenting involved sending a Class D personnel to approach SCP-001. The subject was ordered to leave, returning to the researchers. Since the Class D refused to return, he was terminated upon their death. SCP-001 obliterated the research team responsible for sending the Class D within its reigns. Experiment B involved a research robot approaching 001, which was obliterated by the being as well. Similar to B, Experiment C sent 100 research drones to approach 001. They were all destroyed at once, with the Gate Guardian striking in all directions at once. Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know why the first one is so funny to me. They're like sending you to your death, okay? And then, like, basically, Uriel the Angel is like, you really think I'm above smiting you? Like, let me show you how we used to get down in the Old Testament, dog. And then just blows up your entire building. You think you're safe? No, just done. Thanos snapped your entire existence away. You just spawn into the Garden of Eden after that. And then you're like, yo, Uriel, what happened? It's just like, you tried me. You tried me, bitch. That's what happened. Like, I'm sorry, that's just funny to me. I've already made a ton of jokes on this. The fact that, like, 1 foot into there, he basically just tells you, ayo, you don't want this, okay? You don't. You don't want this. We send in some drones, and he's like, all right, you trying to play this game too? I don't know. I like that's funny to me. Like, granted, is it going to be an S tier? No. It misses that little bit of that SCP charm, but it's enough of the charm for me to be like, I dig it. I dig it. This is tough. I'm gonna say top B. I think B plus. I'm open to moving up to A, but I mean, okay, the stuff that it wants to keep ambiguous works, okay? Again, I have to keep on bringing it up. The thought that it inspired the founder to start the SCP Foundation by simply saying the word prepare, that's dope. I really like it. And here's the thing, narratively, it makes sense for this to be the first one. It does. It really does make sense for it to be the first one. However, do I want it to be the first one? No. I like to think that this one is canon, but they made it SCP-001 in order to throw off people, because this sounds like it should be the first one, because it does make the most sense. But at the same time, I think B tier, just because of how much I like it compared to the others, I think this works. SCP-001, When Day Breaks. No. Before we get into this, y'all have been hyping up this thing for a very long time, okay? So I'll be real. I like, y'all have been hyping this up for every single SCP video I've ever done. And I'm hoping that you guys did not hype it up to a point that it's not going to be able to live up to it. But I'm going open. The Sun, also known as SCP-001, When Day Breaks, is the main antagonist of SD Locke's SCP-001 proposal. It is a hostile Apollyon-class entity who turns any living organism into basically, this I do know, basically a Cronenberg monster from Rick and Morty. That is the best way that I can describe it. That's what I've seen, and I really do like that. I like that. We're starting off strong. The thought that the sun just fucking kills you and turns you into a little Cronenberg monster, that works so well. Very simple. There's a lot that you could do with it. I do know a few things about this. I've read a few stories about it, and I've read some good ones and I've read some bad ones. We'll cover that by the end of this portion of it, but let's get into it. Creating an XK end-of-the-world scenario, an apocalyptic, possibly endless event. When any living being is in contact with the sun's visible light or moonlight, the being would liquefy and undergo a process which turns them into SCP-001-A instance. The Blob. Biography. In 2025... Whoa, okay. Whoa. Whoa, we're getting a little bit too close, okay? We get the sun kills people before GTA 6. That's what I'm seeing, okay? In 2025, when SCP-7941, the SCP-SS Renard spaceship carrying a 50 Class D personnel to be sacrificed to an entity, was misdirected towards the sun, only one of D Class was left alive. SCP-7941-A, sensing its presence, SCP-179 prevented the ship's destruction and allowed him to enter the temple where he met with the Lifemongers. During the trial held by the Lifemongers, which 179 took part in, they discovered that SCP-7941-A has been secretly communicating to the Foundation through SCP-2922. There's a lot of numbers here that have to be filled in. Basically, these are just other entities. A method of which allows humans to telepathically communicate to someone's phone. Having been discovered, the Lifemongers decided to shut down the sun's radiation to kill humanity and start all over again. Damn, okay, that was a bad call then. And was against this and dashed to the core of the temple to control the sun. He became the new catalyst of the temple, and only for him to go mad and accidentally cause SCP-001, which transformed most of humanity, including 179 herself, into a melted flesh monster. Okay, I dig it. Let's get into this. Of an unknown date, the sun turned into a hostile because of unknown reasons and began to melt all living organisms and turn them into disgusting monsters. In the first 24 hours after the sun turned red, at least 6.8 billion living organisms transformed into disgusting monsters, leaving little and fast dying survivors. A survivor and SCP researcher named Logan, I got to make a page about the sun, or in SCP-001, she is told by her melting husband that the sun is beautiful and it's fine outside. After multiple attempts to get her to join, she comes out of the sewers and melts as well. The two lovers together forevermore, and the red skies bear the torch. Ooh, I kind of like that line. The red skies bear the torch. I dig that. Okay. You see what I mean? There's a lot of stories that you could do in this. You could play that the sun is actually more of like a conscious... Like, the other stories have been able to do this, where the sun is actually like a manifestation of like a Cthulhu-level entity, or the sun is actually a Cthulhu-level entity, and it drives people insane and causes them to basically be like an apostle of it. Like, think of these flesh monsters as these basically the apostles of like the sun Cthulhu god, okay? And that they believe that the way to salvation is through communing with the sun god, okay? I dig that. I do. I think there's a lot of things you could do with it. Now, I mean, like, you do have to eventually have an end game. I think it's kind of crazy that, like, the moon can also turn you into it, which makes sense. It's just a reflection of, like, the sun's light, which also implies that it's actually probably not UV radiation, and it's more like the actual light of the sun is turning you into it, which is pretty interesting. Which then we're going above, like, it's gamma radiation. It's not just that. It's actually, like, some type of, like, god-level entity. That sun is turning red. That could make sense for it. I'm liking this. Possible ending. The love is so forbidden, it's unknowable. SCP-347 is able to survive because her skin does not meet the star's light and stumbles upon an abandoned SCP site where she finds a briefcase inside the room of SCP-055 attached with a note to take to SCP-579. In doing so, resets all events of when day breaks. That sounds like a MacGuffin, dog. That is a MacGuffin. Okay? Reset time. Okay. The amount of stuff that you're able to do with this does make sense. Now, it being SCP-001 makes almost zero sense. I don't think this is actually meant to be it. If you were to ask me, of the ones that we've, like, talked about so far, I would actually say the Scarlet King is probably the real SCP-001, because it's the only one that actually has a cognito hazard. This one, I think the amount of stuff that you can do with it narratively. Okay? And the only, like, nitpick that I have about it is, one, the MacGuffin that you have to reset it, because it does make sense. It's just endless. And two, some of the stories around it read like it's like an Avengers movie. Like, a lot of the monsters, a lot of the entities that were previously monsters before the sun turned evil are actually the good guys, and they're helping the survivors because they're not affected by it. Which... doesn't really work for me. But outside of that, I would actually say with the amount of stuff that you're able to do with this, I'm going to put this at S. I think narratively, this one doesn't work like the Scarlet King, but I think I just like the stuff that you can do with it. Maybe that's just up to me. That's my bias, but I'm going to put it in S. I think S tier is good. The Factory. Okay, now we're getting into the lesser-known ones. The Factory is the major antagonist in the SCP Foundation series. It is an evil living corporation founded in the 19th century, which enslaved many of its workers who suffering fueled it, and is responsible for the production of many anomalies that would qualify for the SCP classification. It is one of many anomalies given the designation of SCP-001, in which it was partially responsible for the creation of the organization that would become known as the Foundation. The Factory is often depicted as a arch enemy of Dr. Wondertainment. Dr. Wondertainment is basically like Walt Disney, but if he started an entertainment corporation that was also kind of like a CIA front. So basically Walt Disney, that actually worked out way too well. The Factory was founded by an industrialist, alleged pagan or Satanist, James Anderson. Wow, we're going in hard. It was a company made by a Satanist. Could work, but I'm skeptical. Let's go into this. In 1835, the factory back then was known as the Anderson Factory and was designed to produce anything the consumers wished, ranging from food to clothes to weapons. The factory was the largest factory that has ever been built at the time. Anderson was very specific in its construction and possibly even used dark magic to it paranormal powers, and the factory employed numerous workers who were eager to work as they believed it was a chance to earn money and have some place to live. Okay. He used dark magic to make a factory. No. The reason that I'm not instantly saying, oh, that's kind of dumb, is... Okay, I'm trying to remember the name of it. This reads, like the factory made by James Anderson, a pagan or a Satanist, reads a lot like the Lesser Key of Solomon, where it's basically a dude in like extracurricular Christianity who made a super like well-made temple and he employed demons to do it. Okay? It's a really interesting story that there are many people that are far more well-read than I that could cover it for you. But what this reads as is like a more modern version of the Lesser Key of Solomon, which... This could work. Let's get into this. I'm going to let them cook on this. However, instead, they were imprisoned within it and as slaves and were forced to work for extended periods of time under extremely harsh conditions while barely being treated as animals. The chain workers, which also included children, would slaughter animals to produce food and maintain the factory's machinery, which skewered their flesh and their bones. When their blood spilled over the walls of the factory, archaic runes would appear, although this was never affirmed. Injured workers would be forced to keep working, while those too injured to work would be dragged by the security and present them to Mr. Anderson, who experiment on them by stitching their body parts together and add animal parts to them to transform it into monstrous servants. The factory even had breeding pits where girls and as young as 8 were chained and were... Damn, wow, we just got really dark. Okay. Woo! Okay, no. Now they're starting to lose me a little bit, because, like, I'm still starting to see, like, the Lesser Key of Solomon, like, inspirations here. Because, like, if you actually look, like, we talk about, like, biblically accurate angels, okay? They look crazy, they have wings, infinite, they're rings within rings is a very big thing, be not afraid. When we start talking about, like, biblically accurate demons, that's where shit gets a little fuzzy. Okay? Interesting enough, most of the time, they're actually amalgamations of, like, animals in humans. Basically, furries. Am I saying the furries are actually... Nope, I'm not saying that. No, it ain't one of those. We're not on that side of YouTube. But no, in reality, now this is a lot more interesting. The best way that you can describe, like, the look of what a biblically accurate, like, demon would look like is less of, like, a red guy with horns. No. Think of, like, the gods of Egypt. Weirdly enough, that's actually pretty close. Now there's some better descriptions that are given. They also refer to themselves as like a group. Like there's a we're getting into some dark stuff. Maybe this will be for a different video, but getting to like We Are Legion. Like there's a lot of interesting stuff that I don't want to get into in this video of all videos. but I see where they're going with it, and I'm intrigued. This has hit that part of my brain where I would like to investigate further, okay? Rumors began spreading about the real nature of the Anderson factory, but nobody did anything about that until 1875, when one of the workers finally managed to escape, so he went to President Grant and told him about the real horrible nature of the factory, which prompted the president to send a militaristic force made out of 50 men and women to take down the factory and army, led by the future 051. Ooh, okay. Oh god, now we're tying into the 05 Council. Attacked the factory and made quick work of security as it was made up of normal workers before coming across the modified workers. The army was unable to also kill them and proceed to free all the workers while looking for Anderson. After finding him hiding in the office, the army punished him by disemboweling him and hanging him. Damn, hanging him by his intestines. Damn. That's rough. Despite the Anderson managed to stay alive and laughed at them, stating that the factory would live, and despite his death, and finally died after being taken apart. Ooh, okay. Let's get into after this event. I'm still seeing the correlations. I'm still seeing it. Following the conquest of the factory, a few members of the army and their leaders marveled at the anomalous products created by the factory, such as toys that acted like real lethal weapons or cloaks seemingly made out of darkness, that allowed its users to go into another dimension. When the time came to make a decision about the fate of the factory, 12 of the armies, which included the leader, decided to use the factory and its products to protect humanity, causing them who believed that the building and its products should be destroyed or reported to the president in the form of the Allied Occult Initiative. Other members would use the products to their own purposes, with the chaplain forming the Church of the Broken God, believing that some of the products were pieces of God, while a member named Marcel decided to sell the products for personal gain. Capitalism, dog. You get a cloak made out of literal darkness from a factory of a known Satanist? Yup. Sell it on eBay, dog. Yeah. Yep, that's where we're going. One of the workers who was freed would become Dr. Wondertainment and produce products to induce joy and happiness in the customers. The 12 left in charge of the factory would eventually become the SCP Foundation 05 Council and form a city around it. I don't know what city it is. Like, it's in America. I was going to make the joke that it's the Vatican City, but that doesn't work. Imagine if it's like Dallas. Like it's just some random, like Austin, Texas. Yep, that makes sense to me. Okay. What do I think about this? I think you could have done a few things differently. Number one, okay, I think you keep with the Lesser Key of Solomon. You keep with that. You keep with that because I think that's a very good narrative thing that you could have done. Number one, I think absolutely making... Wouldn't it be way more effective if it was like a weirdly cool place to work at? Okay, like you work there, the benefits are great, and it's like a really cool working environment. And it's kind of like it's too good to be bad. Like, I feel like that works way better instead of, we came in and they beat us with chains. It's like, at some point, nobody's going in to work. Like, I understand the people that are working there ain't leaving. But, like, nobody's coming in again. Or, like, normal people work there, but the normal people are working alongside, like, demons. And the demons are, like, these super positive peoples, almost like a Tommy Taffy type of individual. That's a Third Parent reference right there. Where they're, like, basically living dolls. And they're like, how you doing, Mike? And they're, like, having, like, these super wholesome conversations, but they never go past surface level. Or if you start, like, sowing hesitancy in, like, working, he'll, like, sew up at your office. He'll be like, hey, Jim, you were behind today. Like, you're just not seeming there. Like, basically a normal HR worker. And it's just like, you really need to work on becoming a team player. And then if you finally hand in your resignation, it's just like, I think we have a program for you. I don't know why. HR people just sound demonic to me. Like, we... You need to work together. It's like, who's we, bitch? I'm good. Okay? I'm out. I gave you my resignation. Okay, you ain't bringing me back. Okay, we good. And then they throw you into, like, the shredder, okay? Then you can get into the dark aspect of it. But if you just instantly make it, oh, it's super dark, immediately they're beating people, it's like... It's a bit much. Like, I think it works more effectively as a story if they were actually trying to tempt you to work there, and there's more of, like, that temptation that comes into play. Bottom of B. Bottom of B. I think B minus. I think that's valid. It's not terrible. I like some of the aspects of it, but I will be real. When they were getting into, they had women and they bred them for workers. It's like, how long were y'all around? Like, I feel like that takes planning. Like, how'd you get 8-year-olds that quickly, dog? Like, where is this? Boston? Damn. But, like, all jokes aside, dark, yes. But a little bit too edgy for my liking. Like, edginess works when it works narratively. But just being like, they bred new workers in the back room. It's like, alrighty then. Like, that's my reaction. Black Moon. Okay. I've actually never heard about this one. So this will be the first one that I have absolutely zero knowledge on. Okay, so I'm going in with tempered expectations. The Black Moon is one of the overarching antagonists in the SCP Foundation mythos and is the enigmatic, powerful, and ancient godlike entity existing outside of reality and wishes to cause as much destruction as possible. Okay, right away. Cool. Get in line, dog. Do you have any idea how many, like, godlike entities that say, I am the god of chaos, and existence is a self-defeating prophecy. Free will can only be achieved if chaos reigns. It's like, okay, cool, bro. Can you get in line with the other impotent gods that just want to see reality burn? Like, come on. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying not to be, like, doom and gloom. I'm trying to give this a chance, but it's like, get in line, pal. Do you have any idea how many of you there are? Come on, okay? It's associated with the mimetic code, Does the Black Moon Howl? Oh boy, okay, let's get into this. Which appears in numerous articles on the SCP site, including a number of SCP-001 proposals, which is connected to the Foundation's administrator, being indirectly responsible for the creation of the SCP Foundation and its overarching antagonist in the Red Tape series. Okay. Now, come on. Positive. Let's go into this. I'm going to give it a chance. Come on. When the Black Queen first met the Black Moon, she described it as a faceless mass or cloud of dancing shadows that sat on a magnificent royal throne. It's cool, too similar to the Scarlet King, though. He is a semblance of hornets and laughing children. What are you? A faceless mass of cloud of dancing shadows. Cool, dog. When entering the singular conceptual bunker, the Black Moon was described as a shadow with delusions of form like smoked leg trapped in a fist. While its voice sounded like 1,000 tiny whispers during a divine, Sir Sendo, when talking to Christina, its voice sounded like the absence of one. Okay, that's kind of dope. I kind of like that. It's like a nothing burger statement, but it's like a nothing burger that means something when we're talking about divinity. That's how I'm feeling. When its birds being described as word-shaped voids. Okay, Shakespeare, calm it down, dog. Put the baby oil away. Stop. Come on. Let's cool it on the Shakespeare stuff now. Come on, you can't have two in a row. Chill. As SCP-5284, the Black Moon was described as an extra-dimensional extrusion composed of unknown organic matter that resembles a microscopic organism measuring the volume of around 21.352 kilometers. Well, 10 to the power of 10 cubed. Okay, that's big. That's real big. And being able to extend structures resembling amoebas pseudopods. The Black Star, described as the Black Moon, is an enormous pitch-black orb that resembled a bottomless pit, and a soft corona of red light around itself and tentacles that would be seen protruding from it. Come on. Hit me with something that I haven't read before, dog. Come on, give me something. Not much is known about the personality of the Black Moon. When confronting the Black Queen, it appeared as an enigmatic individual who, although it behaved as supporting her over the loss of her father, it was in fact part of its manipulation to use her as its fight against the Scarlet King. It also appeared as to be fond of the void and the meaningless as when Allison stated that its title as the Black Moon didn't mean anything to her, his greatly pleased it. The Black Moon was shown to have no value in life, killing each living intelligent organism over the course of countless millennia, expecting the end of reality with patience. After being tricked by the administrator into devolving into the same level as him, the Black Moon was quickly filled with rage and attempted to murder him at all costs, while stated that everything in the counterbalance did what would be meaningless. Is this another nihilistic, impotent Cthulhu God. Again, dog. And he has beef with the Scarlet King. Yeah, bro, I'd probably have beef with you too if you just stole my flow. Oh my gosh, is that what this is? And, like, it doesn't help the case that somebody was able to trick it into being immortal. Like, I hate that in, like, narratives, okay? When, like, the average everyday dude came up with a word salad argument to make, like, the god-level devil or entity and tricked it into serving it. Like, I hate that. What do you think this is? Aladdin? Dog, come on. You're not going to out-word salad the dude who invented lying. Like, come on. Really? Okay. Oh, is this it? Okay. The Black Moon SCP-001 didn't show that much of a personality apart from the before releasing the Black Blight. It sent messages to Foundation personnel that there was no hope and they should all force quit themselves. Okay, this is really giving nihilistic Redditor vibes, bro. Like, come on. You're not even gonna be able to fight me, dog. You might as well just force quit. Like, okay, I'll be real, dog. I'm not a fan of this, like, at all. I'm not a fan. D tier, absolute D tier. I really, really dislike this. It's the Scarlet King, but not cool. I take back every mean thing I said about the Scarlet King. This is worse. This is worse. And I'm sure there's cool stories about it because you could do a lot with that narratively. But, like, really? A mortal was able to trick it to be like oh my gosh, bro. Really? That's what we got? D tier. Like, that's probably the worst one. That'll probably be the 05 Council's more cool than that. Damn, man, that was dumb. SCP-001, the prototype. Okay. I'm going into this. I love the monster design, though. The monster design looks dope. I'm open. Okay. Open mind. Hopefully this is a good palate cleanser. The prototype is a modern antagonist in the SCP Foundation mythos. Unlike other SCP, it does not have a classification. This is because that at the time of the SCP's capture, the classification system was not put into place. Given the SCP's extremely violent nature with the ability to teleport, a Keter class classification would be fit best, though it was ultimately classified as Euclid. That means that they can keep it, although there is not a ton of risk of it escaping, but it can happen. According to the SCP Foundation, reports of the creature first came from Guatemala. Onlookers originally reported as seeing a demon looking ill. Yo, bro! They're like, there's like this demon thing, but like, bro, bring an ambulance, because bro's looking sick right now. Alright, that's an interesting way to describe it. Which was approached by 4 young boys. When the creature opened its mouth and revealed a single eye inside, the boys ran away and immediately contacted the authorities. These are brave kids, dog. I don't care. Like, that was the thing that scared you? Really? Okay. The creature would give off sounds explained as horrible roaring or shrieks from locals over several days. The creature's teleportation ability leaves behind very high radiation, which put 12 people in the hospital. 7 people went missing during the time, and the SCP Foundation began its efforts to capture the creature and soon after these events. When did this happen? Because I feel like there was something that happened in Guatemala for the inevitable, like, UFO iceberg, okay? There was, like, a weird thing that happened in Guatemala where there was, like, a ton of... Yo, this might actually be that story. So, like, I think it was in the 1900s. I know that for sure. And there was a ton of radiation going on at a certain point, and, like, the United States Air Force took a visit to Guatemala to see what was going on. No, that never got explained. And it described a lot of the same stuff there. There was an entity that was there. They didn't know what it was. Keep in mind, this is confirmed, but it's also, like, been changed by, like, it's been vastly overbloated, a lot of the story. However, the United States military sewed up for whatever reason, and that was weird. During the SCP's containment, it killed many personnel, including Dr. Herman Keter. Because of this, the Keter classification became to exist. Rest in peace. Imagine getting murked by an otherworldly entity, and the only thing that they fucking give you is they name it after your last name, dog. Like, that reminds me of, like, those free diving people. Like, those free cave diving people that go into, like, these dark holes, and they die there, and they name it, like, Unlucky Jack, because Jack died there. Like, it gives off the same energy, dude. Eventually, as SCP-001 became more and more weaker due to growing old, it was finally classified as Euclid. However, June 15th, 1932, it was able to breach containment and attack nearby personnel, but was quickly scared by armed guards and began bursting warning fire. They then guided SCP-001 back to its cell while the attack personnel quickly recovered. Eventually, at August 17th of 1961, SCP-001 died of old age, and its remains were collected by personnel who reclassified it as neutralized following the closure of the site that previously held it, and remains sent to Site 87. Okay, let's go over appearance. We can go over appearance and power and ability. Okay. The entity is exactly 6'5", tall at an average of 97 pounds, lightweight. Oh, what? Okay. The creature's age is unknown. The gray-brown skin, with its single eye being milky blue eye color. With no body hair whatsoever, the creature has a very emaciated body with a bone structure unlike any known species because it's an alien dog. Its legs are long and thin, ending in sharp black points, 3 fingers on each hand, also ending in black points. Its legs and arms are twice as long as its torso. It has no reproductive organs, orifice, eyes, nose, or pores anywhere on its body. Yo, bro, I'd be mad too. The creature's head is spherical and very large in proportion to the body. The neck appears thin to support the head. Its mouth extends halfway around the head, has no lips. Its mouth has 21 teeth, spaced randomly. Okay, so it's just really freaky looking. That's what I'm getting. Let's get into powers really quick, and then I'll rate it. The prototype is an extremely hostile and destructive predatory creature. As mentioned before, the creature has a single strange eye in its mouth. When the mouth is open, the eye holds the power to create singularities, of which are essentially small black holes. These singularities are used for both the creature to teleport itself and attack its victims. As one would expect, its sharp claws are also used for attacking. The singularities cause extreme damage to anyone. Ugh! I was holding that back for the entirety of the reading that. Extreme damage to anything near them due to the pulling force of them. Okay, so basically it has a hollow purple that it could spawn at any given moment. That's what I'm reading here. Okay, bottom of C tier. It's better than the moon, edgy Redditor god, but, I mean, O5 Council works a bit more. Does it make sense for this being number 1? No, not at all. Like at all. Is it a cool monster? Yes, I like the design. But it's like, it's not a good first SCP. Okay, that's the best one to describe. I like the, I like that it took inspiration from some events that really did happen. I really like that. It's better than the Redditor God. It's not better than the O5 Council. I think that's the best way to describe it. And finally, the past and future. I've never heard about this one, so yeah. Let's get into this. This is either going to be really good or really bad. That's what I'm feeling. The past and future are major antagonists of the SCP mythos, serving as the main antagonists of Kalen's SCP-001 proposal and associated in the series. It is a powerful alien civilization inhabiting alien dystopian planets in which the inhabitants are endlessly tortured and are actively seeking to reclaim humanity. Oh, no. Is this the Anunnaki? Is this the... Okay. For anybody who doesn't know, the Anunnaki is like a really, like... It's a really, like, fringe theory that humanity was actually the product of panspermia. We were basically pollinated by, like, another species to this planet, okay? And we were put here to mine gold. This is coming from, like, ancient Sumer. Like, there is some weird stuff that ancient Sumer was onto. But I don't think it was the Anunnaki. And we're a product of accelerated evolution. We were bred to mine gold for them because gold is very valuable in the intergalactic space trade. If this is the Anunnaki, this might be the Anunnaki, dog. Okay, let's get into it. The past and future is a member of a number of numbers of alien race. Actually, hyper-evolved humans that have twisted moral values built themselves into perfect beings out of others' suffering. How they came to be and why their society axed around suffering is unknown. Nonetheless, they became an extremely powerful species able to twist the laws of physics and causality to their leisure. Right away, it kind of reminds me... I'm going to be whipping out the ADHD knowledge on you. This reminds me of, like, the Dark Eldar from, like, Warhammer 40k, where they're, like, basically, like, the perfect being that got so bored with being good that they became evil because it was the only thing that, like, meant anything to them. Okay? I was going to make a really bad analogy so I'm not gonna do that. So I'm just gonna say, they got bored of playing with cars, so they graduated to actually hitting people with cars. That's the best way I can describe it without saying what I was going to say. Humans were one of the races that they endlessly tortured for eons, but a long time ago, humans revolted and fled to a current planet, Earth. The race's goal is to return humans to their original position as one of their planets, known as the Planet of Hands, in which humans will be turned back into mutilated slaves. However, Past and Future wants, for some reason, to have humans willingly return to the Planet of Hands instead of launching a full-scale invasion. The Past and Future's motives for doing so are ambiguous, but they claim it is out of love. Planet of Hands is such a scary title. Dog, that's fucked up. Another thing it reminds me of is, what's that story with the Q? And it's basically a bug alien race transforms future humanity into, like, these super bastardized creatures. Basically just to serve... Like, they turned humans into basically sponges to eat crap for them. Oh my gosh, it's gonna bother me. Somebody's gonna remember the name and put it in the comment section and I'll heart it. It's the one with the Q. It's like Q-U... that. I don't want to take over the entirety of this video. I'll probably put it in post. But yeah, it reminds me of that. Like an alien race that like wants to dominate all the other alien races, and it transforms them into basically like waste, okay? Like, we're getting transformed into basically slave labor, and that's part of like the Anunnaki theory, which it's entertaining, but that's what it is. It's just entertainment. To this end, Past and Future have created unleashed anomalies known as SCPs to make life so unbearable that humans would have no choice but to accept the Past and Future's offer, so they want to live at least for a short while. Okay, so basically, the SCP Foundation is fighting against, like, future humanity alien creatures, and they're creating the anomalies to fuck with us. That's not terrible. To counter Past and Future, the SCP Foundation has created a force field protecting Earth from SCP-001's influence, but after it ceased to function, Past and Future were able to find our planet and immediately begin to wreak havoc. The day following the force field's cessation, Past and Future, as a display of force, altered hundreds of SCPs, turning them more dangerous and causing catastrophic containment breaches, which resulted in several Foundation sites being wiped clean off the map, as well as thousands of casualties. I mean, like, is that really a show of force, though? Yeah, we're gonna kill a few thousand humans, and then we're just not gonna elaborate, okay? Alright. Past and Future was all too aware of the Foundation's involvement in opposing them, and so Standard Dream Report 66Y990.2, I have no clue what that means. Past and Future crucified SCP-990 and used its powers to send an ultimatum to 052. Appearing as her child, as her dead child to emotionally torture her, driving her to force quit game. Past and Future made it clear that they would soon reveal themselves to the rest of humanity and we repatriate all humans in their rightful place. Okay. In the penultimate chapter of Kaylin's proposal, the Man at the Threshold, SCP-001's entity known as the Man appeared in Egypt and began a twisted play, with our entire planet as the stage, involving in the several other such entities with the goal to explain humanity's 001's philosophy. While doing so, the Man caused worldwide chaos, resulting in thousands of casualties across the world, global upheaval, with the Foundation powerless to do anything. Before leaving, he opened several portals leading to the Planet of Hands, and 1,000 people racked with insanity willfully went, followed by many of them following days. Ooh, I do like that. Okay. I'm gonna read a little bit more because this is the last one. I actually really do like that. In Casa de Satina de la Casa, it is also revealed that the global society is known in disarray with many humans, if not most of humanity, having willfully joined the Planet of Hands to escape an increasingly dangerous SCPs. The SCP Foundation itself is but a shadow of its former self, with most of its agents killed in a worldwide chaos caused by the Past and Future. SCP-001's ideals as outlined in their play, The Man at the Threshold, are one of the condemned ideas housed within the tower known as SCP-2303. guarded by MTF Phi 9. Under the command of Aurelio Rojas, one of the Foundation's remaining agents, Rojas attempted to detonate SCP-003 with explosives, but it stopped by an avatar of SCP-001 named Munasir, who crossed the detonator and gloats that they already know about the explosives and nothing Aurelio does will make any difference. Aurelio replies that there was truth that they would not be trying to stop him and taunts them that everything they've done to keep their society going is futile and they've achieved is blinding themselves to a reality that they will eventually fall. Angered, Monasir smashed to a pulp Aurelio, killing him only to find that he has a dead man switch attached to him. SCP-2303 and at the Man at the Threshold play are destroyed, apparently killing one of SCP-001's manifestations, thus rejecting their beliefs. I really do like that. That's kind of cool. I do like that. That was a good one to end it on. Okay. One, I see where they were going with it. Like, this is not a new idea in fiction that humanity is actually a slave to either a godlike entity or to God, okay? That's a cool thing in fiction. There's some stuff that you can do with it. The idea that it's actually future humanity conducting a goal that and dream that current humanity doesn't understand, and they're more toying with us like a child. That's kind of cool. I do like that. Now, are there some things that I don't like about this? Yes. Like the fact that, let me get this straight, you're just going to kill a few thousands of us. Now, their philosophy, I would like to know a little bit more about their philosophy in terms of what they think about humanity and humanity's place in all of this. Are they assisting us in what they believe is like an evolution of the human race? Is that a thing? I don't know. I do like this one. I'm going to put this one bottom of A tier. I think that one's pretty good. Do I think it's the original one? If you were to ask me what one I think is canon, I think the Scarlet King is meant to be the one. I do like this one though. I do like this one. And you can do so much with the sun one. Okay, how about this? I'm going to move nah. I think this works good. I'm in terms of how much I like them, this is valid. But, yeah, no, those are all of the SCP-001's that I was able to find that are at least canon proposals, okay? I'm sure I missed some that were on, like, the outskirts of the fandom, but these are the ones that I feel are, like, the best representation of the SCP fandom. I know this is a longer video. Your support means the most to me. And if you enjoy this content, please consider like, comments, and subscribe. It means the most to me. And with all that out of the way, I will see you all next time, and adios, guys.